Foiling is really on trend at the moment, but if you don't have a glimmer machine, you may think, how do I add foils? Well, today I'm showing you several cards to use with your fab foils from Wild Embossing Powder, and most of these don't require a hot foiling machine. Don't worry, I do show you a few techniques that do require a machine too if you like to use them. Today I'm showing you 5 fabulous cards to use with your fab foils. I'm Verity and welcome to my YouTube channel and blog Pretty Little Button, where I make paper crafting tutorials for the everyday crafter. So let's get started. So I am using a whole host of different fab foils from Wild Embossing Powder today. They have a huge selection of different colours. I've got quite a lot of them here. I'm just missing, I think, green, pink, purple and maybe the speckled gold, I think it's called. But I have most of them here on the website. Now I will apologise, there are times when the video might look like it's frozen. Fortunately, when I was filming this, my USB storage kept going in and out and I didn't realise when I was recording, so sometimes it didn't always pick up what was going on from my webcam. So here I am just going through how I like to use and store my foil with these pouches. Now you can get to the pouches by opening the bottom, and it has an adhesive end at the bottom that seals it shut. However, I find I get my foil stuck on that. And if you get your foil stuck on it with the nice side facing up away from the adhesive, it's actually going to adhere some of that foil to your pouch. So instead, I just like to trim the top off, create a little opening, and I can easily get my foil in and out. In addition, the little insert cards also have some tips on how to use the fab foil, and you don't need a foiling machine to necessarily use fab foils. You can use them with toner ink, you can use them with adhesive, and you can use them with bonding powder. But I'm going to be showing you several other ways of using them in today's video. I'm just going to talk about Wild Embossing Powder's smooth cardstock as well. This is really great cardstock to use with foiling, whether that's using it as a toner or whether you're using it with other machines such as your glimmer machines. Now obviously fab foils don't work with those glimmer machines, but if you're wanting smooth cardstock to glimmer, then why not look no further than Wild Embossing Powder's smooth cardstock. So for the first technique, I'm just showing you how to use it with some toner designs. Now I created a couple of sentiments on my computer, and then I've just printed them off on my toner printer. Now you must have a toner printer in order for these to work. If you use an inkjet printer, the foil will not fuse to the ink and create that foil effect. Now I'm using my Mink machine, but you can use a laminator if you have one, as long as it's heated up for a long period of time so it's really nice and hot. So I've switched my Mink machine on to number 3, and I'm just cutting some blue fab foil down to cover the happy I've created. And then I'm also cutting some turquoise to cover the birthday that I created and printed on my toner printer. I'm just placing this in a carrier folder. This is just one that came with the Mink machine, but you could easily just use a piece of paper folded in half. This is just to keep the foil in place over the toner as you run it through the machine, and the heat will then melt the toner ink and fuse with the foil on the sheets. So when it comes out the other side, all you have to do is the peel and reveal and you will see beautiful foil design. Now obviously I created my sentiments here, but you could use this with digital stamps that you download off the internet. Just print them off on a toner printer and then of course you can foil them as well. So the peel and reveal unfortunately did cut out with my camera, but here you can see the beautiful happy and the beautiful birthday. Now it's really hard to see the colour on these sentiments, but they do have a beautiful shine in the light as you move them. For the second technique that's in this card as well, you can buy toner sheets, and these are from Thermoweb Deco Foil. They are peel and stick. And these are pre-printed toner sheets. And I'm just going to die cut from them and then going to run them through my machine with some foil. So I've got silver fab foil here, and I'm just making sure I've got enough to cover the whole of that area. Now you can either first of all foil the whole sheet first and then die cut it, or do it the way that I've done it today and I've die cut it and then foiled. So here's a lovely peel and reveal. This is a great way to create your own custom foiled mirrored cardstock, and you can choose any colours that you want. Obviously there are a whole host of colours to choose from. In addition, I also foiled in dark blue and turquoise again, and these are the nested note cut layering dies from Catherine Pooler that I'm using here. I'm just creating a really simple and easy masculine card. To finish this card off, I foam mounted each of the die cut layers and then foam mounted the sentiment on top. and finishing it off by embellishing it with a few white Nuvo drops, creating a really simple and effective masculine birthday card. So for the next card, I'm going to show you how to use your foils with double-sided adhesive sheets. So I've placed a piece of double-sided adhesive sheet from Altenew on both sides of one piece of cardstock because I want the adhesive to be available for the foil, but also to make it easier to adhere the die cut down. So I've just die cut this circle weave die from Catherine Pooler out of that makeshift double-sided adhesive sheet, and I've peeled out the back, and then I realised I started to pop out the negatives. But then I realised as I was doing that, I thought I could use those negatives to create a second design, so started putting them back in the panel. Now I am just adhering that die cut down onto a white card panel and removing the front adhesive sheet to reveal that sticky adhesiveness of the die cut. For this card, I've gone for some copper fab foil, and I'm just trimming it down to the same size as the die, just so I don't waste it, and obviously I'll keep any of the excess that I don't use. Obviously the foil is going to stick down to that sticky adhesive exposed area of the die cut. I'm just placing it over the top and using my finger to really burnish the foil down into the adhesive. I also like to go over with my bone folder to do that as well, just to really get in the nooks and crannies to really make sure I'm getting a good coverage of foil. And then once it's ready, we do the peel and reveal. And as you can see, I now have a beautiful die cut metal embellishment on my front of my card. So quick and easy to do. To finish the card, I added a stunning Starflower from Altenew on top with a sentiment from PinkFresh Studios Celebrating You in copper embossing powder. So as I mentioned, I decided to keep all those little inners inside the die because I wanted to adhere that down onto another card panel. And I'm just poking it through with the pokey tool and my bone folder just to poke those negative die cuts down. And because they've got adhesive on the back, the adhesive is going to adhere to the back of the card panel. Once I've pushed enough of those through, I can then lift it up and I will have all those little individual die cuts in that beautiful weave pattern adhered down onto the card for me to then remove the top adhesive to add some more foil. So I'm just removing part of the pattern because I'm going to use two coloured foils here to create a bit of an ombre look. And the first one I've used is Ice Blue. Again, just doing the same thing, just adhering the foil down over the exposed adhesive and then burnishing the foil into that adhesive with my bone folder. The second colour I used is the Teal, which is a beautiful, beautiful dark teal colour. And if there are any areas where it hasn't adhered well, I just go back over with the foil, reposition it, and I just burnish it in with my bone folder again. So again, this card was finished off with another flower from the stunning Starflowers stamp set. And then I finished again with another sentiment from that Celebrating You stamp set. Now, another way you can use it with adhesives is thinking about your foam tape and your double-sided adhesive tape. So here I'm just using some foam tape from Altenew. This is a nice width and nice dimension. And I'm just adhering strips of this down at a diagonal across some coral cardstock from Hero Arts. I'm doing this with a diagonal pattern. Now, when I created the card, I didn't intend it to look sort of like a candy cane, but it ended up a little bit like a candy cane. So if you still got Christmas cards to make, then this is a great way for adding a fun background. I then use my thin double-sided tape to adhere some more stripes down in between the foam tape. And obviously these are thinner, so we're getting that varying depth in dimension with your foil as well. Now, I'm going to then expose the foam tape first, and then I'm going to start adding some foil over the foam tape. For the foil, I'm going to use white. This foil is beautiful and it creates a lovely look. It also adds such a smooth feel to the card as well. I'm just removing the adhesive front and then I'm just positioning the foil over the top, burnishing it down with my fingers again, and then just peeling it off to reveal the foiled design. And once I'd done all the foam strips, I could then go in and do the same, but this time with the thin double-sided tape. For the thin double-sided tape, I'm just using some rose gold foil, and this just goes lovely with that beautiful coral cardstock. Again, exactly the same, but obviously this is just flatter, just removing that adhesive and then burnishing it down. Now I finished this off with a flower stamped from the Lush Garden Craft Your Life project kit from Altenew. And then I added a foiled sentiment, which I'm going to talk about later on. So the last technique we're going to use is going to be using bonding fat powder, and we're going to create an abstract foiled background. So this time I'm using my Seth Apter mixed media brush, and I'm just applying some of the embossing ink to a white card panel. And I want to create a very abstract background, so I'm going backwards and forwards. I'm not being neat. The great thing about this embossing ink is you can see where you're applying it when it shines in the light. Now, bonding powder acts similar to embossing powder. It will adhere to the embossing ink. So I'm just covering the embossing ink pattern that I created with the bonding powder. It is much thinner than embossing powder, so do bear this in mind. And as you melt it, it melts and looks similar to clear embossing powder. However, it is tacky when it's heat set. So it will stay warm for a period of time after you've heat set it. It won't dry instantly. So do bear that in mind. But because it stays warm, it remains tacky, and it allows you to add the foil over the top, and the foil adheres to that tackiness. So I do tend to go in and heat all of the powder down first, and then I go back, heat it up in sections, and do sections of the foiling, because I can't work quick enough for a large area like this to ensure that the powder stays tacky enough to adhere all of the foil. I work in sections, but if I'm using a smaller area, then I could obviously just heat the whole area and then foil that small area. I like to burnish with my bone folder because it gives a really good adherence. It makes sure the foil really pushes down into the bonding powder, which may have a slight texture as well. Now I'm just going to go into how I finish these cards off in a minute, but I just want to talk about the fact that while Embossing Powder's smooth cardstock is perfect for foiling with your glimmer machine. Now fab foils cannot be used with the glimmer machine, it's not the right kind of foil for this technique. However, Wow's smooth cardstock is perfect for getting a beautiful, beautiful foiled when you use your glimmer. Now this first sentiment here I am going to be foiling with Nina cardstock and some platinum foil from Spellbinders. And as I peel and reveal, you can see I have not got a perfect foil. Got some overfoiling. It's not the best foil design. Here I've used some Wow Embossing Powder smooth cardstock, and you can see the difference. But when I peel and reveal, I have a beautifully smooth, crystal clear foiled sentiment. And this is because of the smooth cardstock from Wow Embossing Powder. It's so smooth, it's perfect for foiling. It's also perfect for foiling, remember, when you're using digital designs and toners. So here's a bit of a side by side, and you can see the bottom is much, much, much clearer. I finished this card off by adding another flower from Lush Gardens and adding that sentiment over the top. On the previous card, I also used another foiled sentiment using my glimmer machine as well. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and it's really highlighted some different ways that you can use your fab foils on your cards. So let me know in the comments below, which is your favourite technique out of the lot, or which is your favourite card out of the 5. For me, it's the teal and ice blue card with that beautiful red flower on it. It just pops. If you're interested in any of the products used in today's video, just check out the description box below or head over to the blog for more details. If you're new to the channel, why not think about subscribing? You can hit that bell icon to be notified when the next video is up. Until next time, happy crafting!